All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy almost Christmas. Thank you for joining us so much today. I want to introduce a good friend of mine and an amazing human. This is Susan, and she has an incredible story that I'm super, super looking forward to sharing because it has been a couple years now since we have worked together full time. Our journey together actually started in 2019. And before that, you had lost a decent amount of weight before you and I started working together.
Yeah.
And when we first started, you came to me as a referral from Jennifer.
Mhm.
And we started just with one-on-one training. I think we trained 2 or 3 times a week. And then after a while, we got into the nutrition aspect of it too. And that's where I think we started to learn a lot more about your body, and things kind of picked up pretty rapidly. So I want you to introduce yourself, tell us your story, and I'll throw in some questions here and there to kind of guide you. But just tell us about you.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Susan Schexnayder, and like Sam said, I've known her since 2019. I knew of her before that because I have friends that trained with her and would share stories. But I got to a point in my life in like 2017, 2018. I work in corporate America. I'm up in like director level, manage huge teams globally. Um, just always have been like a workaholic, go, 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 go. Exercise and eating right was always a part of my life up until I got into this role at a company where it basically took all I had. I was traveling internationally, I was traveling domestically, I was never home. I kind of lost sight of eating the right things because you're grabbing whatever is convenient. I wasn't sleeping more than 3 or 4 hours a night, just because of my workload and demands. And, I noticed, the first year that I was kind of in that environment, like the weight starts creeping on, right? But it's not horrible. Like you can still wear your clothes, they just don't fit as good. And then the second year, then it starts getting to where you're having to buy the next size. And not only the size and like putting on the weight, but you don't feel good either. You don't feel good about yourself. You don't have the energy that you used to. You sort of start getting some brain fog in there just because of the crap that's going into your body. And I kept pushing, kept pushing. I was in this role. I loved my job. I loved my team. It got to be too much. And um, I reached a point where I came off of a long trip. I didn't feel well. I remember it was an Easter Sunday in 2017. No, 2018. It was Easter of 2018 because that picture from Christmas was kind of my, okay, this is bad. I got to do something. But Easter Sunday, I ended up in the hospital. My adrenals were shot. Um, I actually had jet fuel poisoning. I was traveling so much and my system was so compromised that my body was not getting rid of like the toxins and the things that you normally would flush out with your kidneys and your liver, and ended up blowing up like a balloon. Couldn't breathe. My son rushed me to the emergency room. I ended up in the hospital for a few days, ran, all these tests. And the only thing they found was in the blood work. They were like, you have petroleum in your blood system. They like, do you work in the oil fields, or, what do you do for a living? And so I explained, and they're like, wow, And so I started down this path of trying to figure out, what was wrong. And in the back of my mind, I knew what was wrong and what I needed to do. Like I had to make some changes, right? It's not sustainable to work 100, hours a week and not sleep more than 3 or 4 hours a night for years. Like it's just not. Our bodies aren't made for that. And I had no life. Like there was no joy or happiness. My family was watching me deteriorate. And I remember when I was on leave after I got sick, I had to take 5 weeks off of work just to recoup. He was looking at me, and I was starting to get back online and like help people like manage my stuff because it was a lot. And he looked over at me and he asked me where I wanted to be buried. And I was like, I was annoyed. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm busy. I was working on something for one of my customers. And um, he's like, no, I'm serious. He said, where do you want to be buried? And I'm like, why are you asking me this? And he said, because I'm watching you slowly put yourself in the grave. He said, I thought the trip to the hospital and you kind of getting that wake up call would get you back to kind of your way of life and your good habits. He said, but I'm seeing you slowly just go right back. And so I decided I needed to change jobs, change roles because I had already talked with them about, less responsibility, less number of people, etc. And, they were like not willing to work with me or not willing to take any of it away. So I realized I had to take that into my own hands. So my husband actually got me back in the gym. He bought me a membership at 24 Hour. He already had one. And he wasn't a big workout person, but he was super active and never had a weight problem, never struggled with that. So he had started going. And so he basically like just kind of was like, no, we're going, come on, come on. And when you reach the point that I had where I was like tipping the scales 240, 245, I did not want to put on my workout clothes. Like I did not want to go to the gym and let people see me working out. I was ashamed. And like he just kind of like, no, we're going. And he kind of drugged me at first. And I did the whole kind of worked out on my own for 6 months. I was very consistent. I cleaned up my diet, but not to the point, once Sam came into my life. But, I was making better choices and limiting the junk. And I did start losing, and I ended up changing jobs. And so started working more of a normal schedule so I could get to the gym every day and I could prep meals and like make, better choices. Well, I got to a point, it was probably early 2019. I had been working out probably for 6 or 7 months and I saw some changes, but I felt like I just wasn't changing the way my friends that were working out with Sam were changing. Like I loved how they looked. They, a few of them had competed. And so I was like, you know what? I need some professional help. So I reached out to Sam and we clicked right off the bat. Like I remember our phone call. We just clicked. Like I think because Sam understands how it is to be heavy. A lot of trainers out there don't don't get it. They have always been thin, they've always been fit, um, and they haven't gone through that struggle or that epiphany, wake up call moment of, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that is what really helped, connect me with Sam and make me want to commit to working out and doing this. And so started training with her like February or March of 2019. And, she pushed me, but not to the point where I hated it or didn't want to go back. She was just, well, you guys that know her, like she's super like inspiring, motivated. She makes you want to push harder or do better. And she makes you kind of reach your capacity, I guess. Like there were things she had me do that I was like, there's no freaking way I can do that. And I remember like a few people walking around when we'd be training, and I would be sweating, I'd be breathing hard, my legs were like shaking. And I was like, there's no way I can do one more of these curtsy lunges. I remember that superset we used to do where we do
Yeah.
one leg, the other leg. We'd squat down first, then we do the one leg, the other leg. I still do those today. I love those. They like work so well. And I remember back, and now it's like they're easy to me,
Right.
right? I can
Yeah.
like knock out 4 sets of 10 of, all three exercises. Yes, it's challenging, but nothing like back then when I thought I was going to die. Um,
I remember
so
those. I remember the shaky leg days.
yeah, there were a lot of them. And
Hmm.
then I also remember like when we started doing like glute bridges were a big thing, right? We always started with those and 5 sets, right? And I thought, how can I fricking lift another one of these, right? You're like, you can't even feel your butt like by the time you're done. And she'd keep piling on the weight and piling on the weight. Come on, one more, one more. I don't think I ever quit on you. That's
Never
one thing.
once. Mm-mm.
I don't quit. If I say, if I go after doing something, I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of girl. Um, but yeah, we just kind of, I was very consistent. I didn't miss workouts.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know, maybe two or three over the course of our whole thing where I had to reschedule with you.
Yeah.
I just made it part of my life. It was a commitment. It felt good to be doing it. It felt good to watch my body changing and, kind of getting my life back. And and then I met some wonderful, other people because of you, that worked out with Team Elite and they helped motivate me as well. And one of them I ended up training with after you had left. And now, of course, he's moved out, moved
Right.
away to you, you know.
Josh is awesome. We love Josh too. Yeah.
Yes, he was so fun to work out with. And he again, he's a little different than you. He pushes,
Yeah.
um, a little different training style, but we always had fun. We'd always be laughing and I'd end up, feeling better when I left than when
Yeah.
I got there. I just love him. So, um, I know, once I felt like I got the workouts down with you,
Mhm.
we worked out all through COVID.
We did. Yeah.
Thank God, you were able to keep the gym open because I really feel like I may have slid back during that time because you couldn't go to a gym.
Right.
I was doing a lot of walking at that point, but as far as lifting, I needed that push. I still needed your direction and um,
Do
that.
you remember our sneaky side door? So we had to like hide from the neighbors. The neighbors are always like,
Yeah. What are they
that was the
doing?
funniest time. Those neighbors in like that little neighborhood that just, oh, I see three cars in the parking lot. They're doing something. So we had to like park down the street and sneak in through the
Mhm.
side door to train early in the
It's
mornings.
just so
But
ridiculous.
it was ridiculous, but thank God that we were able to, even do that, that we were allowed to kind of like sneak in that little loophole and for all of us to be able to stay consistent. I'm super, super grateful that we were able to keep things rolling during that time. And then I think it was during that time that we started doing nutrition together because we talked about it a lot while we were training. And I think one of the things that I pointed out in the beginning was like, you're probably just not eating enough, right? And that's a big struggle for a lot of people, especially, like my mom, I remember I came from a generation where the answer to losing weight was just eat less and move more, right?
Yep.
And that's a pretty common thought even anymore, I think. So when we get to a point where you're significantly undereating, especially significantly undereating your protein, and then your body just hits this wall and it doesn't matter how much you move or how much you train, you start to kind of like regress and you're not feeling as, energetic anymore. Your workouts start to suffer a little bit. And I think that's about the time they're like, all right, now we got to do the other side of this too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And I committed, signed up, I think, for a year,
Mhm.
paid all at once, and was like, I'm doing this. Um, I didn't think I needed it because I felt like I I knew how to eat, right? But I was not eating enough. I was doing that, very low calories, low carb,
Mhm.
which also, and I wasn't getting in my protein. And boy, do I know how important that is now. Like to maintain your lean muscle mass. Like
Yeah.
I'm really good about getting in 150 grams every single day. Like very seldom do I miss. I've learned ways to get that extra, grams in too. Like
Hmm.
you don't have to eat, you know, tons of chicken breast, dry, chicken breast, like to get it all in. There's like lots of ways to get it in. And I
Yeah.
think the education just over the course of being on a nutrition plan and, checking in, week after week and kind of, I know you would look at what I was eating and what was working for me.
Hmm.
Because not only was I battling, kind of coming back from adrenal fatigue and all these toxins, and I was hitting menopause at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was a whole nother thing. Plus, I found out I had something called Cushing's that had developed over those 5, 6 years where I was killing myself, where I had very high levels of cortisol. And so when you have high levels of cortisol, you have a belly, you have this very round, like moon looking face.
Hmm.
Um, and so that was a whole nother struggle. And food was a huge part of that, like getting inflammatory things out of my diet, getting things out of my diet that were not good for me. And so I went through, food testing and what I was allergic to, what was inflaming me. Um, and then of course I'd talk to you about it and, what types of things were better for me than others. And we kind of learned, I think, just going through all that, like what types of foods really like I would do best on. And now it's like I've incorporated that into my life. It's like I don't even have to think about it anymore. And same thing with my training,
Yeah.
you know. And I think I told you this when we talked a few months ago. It's like I still hear your voice, like when I work out.
For
Um,
better or worse.
because like I remember keep your core tight, make sure you're getting down low, get your feet out. There's just all these little things you would, or when I was doing the like side pull things, like pull all the way through and, turn back. There's just all these things like when I'm still doing the same exercises and workouts, obviously I kind of um change them up like you kind of had me do, so that you don't get bored. But there are core exercises I do every freaking week. And because they work. And like I said, every time I'm on the glute bridge machine, you know, I think of you and all those sessions, and how many times we lifted on the leg press, the
Mhm.
one where you're the inverted one, where you're pressing up. Leg position was so important. And when I first came to you, you had showed me so many different ways I could work out my legs and get to different parts of my legs just by changing my toe position. And so, like, it just is ingrained in me now. And, I have you to thank for, my physique now and kind of how I look. I'm 57 years old,
I know.
57 now,
It's
you know,
amazing.
and I just, I don't know. It's really just part of my life. Like, and
Yeah,
I do see where I've inspired other people to
a
take
lot
control of their life.
of people. Yeah.
There's one lady actually that came up to me at the gym after COVID when they opened the gyms back up. And now we're like best friends, you know, because she was struggling and she didn't really know how to work out. She was like very consistent. She was in the gym every morning,
Mhm.
but she came up to me. She's like, do you think I could work out with you for just a couple weeks and you could show me what you're doing? She's like, I didn't even know. Like she'd been watching me for months, you know? And she's like, your technique and, you seem to like, I've seen you change and I don't see those changes and I'm doing the same exercises that you are, but you must be doing something different. And I said, well, I had a really good trainer for a couple of years, and she has just helped me really instill those techniques. And I said, yeah, I'd be happy to help you. And 2 weeks turned into 2 months. And now, if we're at the gym at the same time, we'll train together,
I
you
love that
know?
so much.
Yeah.
Like,
So, and yeah. So.
you get to be an inspiration to people that you don't even know are watching, but I know it's also, something that your family has come to appreciate, and your sister and brother-in-law have both taken control of their health as well, and they're training more with more purpose and focus more on their like health and longevity. And I mean, I think it's incredible because I know we've talked about it, and I tell my athletes and my clients all the time that it's like it's not just about us. It is, I mean, it is to an extent. Like there is some like, yes, take care of yourself for your health, for your longevity, but the people close to you start to see it, and then they start making those changes, and it has this amazing ripple effect where like I titled this call generational health, because it's not just you. It's now things that your family do. It's things that like your son is in very good health. It's something that like you taking control of your life and getting healthy has inspired so many people. And also that, it's been now almost 4 years since we did check-ins together, right? 3 years?
Hmm.
A little bit,
Maybe,
almost 4 years.
yeah, three, maybe
Yeah.
three. Um, yeah, we worked out the first year you were gone because you were back in Denver enough
Yeah.
to where I could, meet up with you at least a couple times a month.
Mm.
And then I did start working out with Josh, on the side too. But once you moved to Vegas full time permanent, and you weren't really making the trips back. Obviously I seek you out when I go there. Like I
I love.
actually, yeah, I actually managed my work schedule around going and working out with Sam every day I was there. And just because I thought, I need tweaks too, right? We all need coaching and direction, and we
Absolutely.
all get a little bit complacent and lazy. And I think you even said you're like, your form's still really good. I
Yeah.
don't think there was too much that you had to tweak because you did
No.
such a good job with me when I was with you. Um, and yeah, I'm just really grateful for that, Sam. I really am. I think I've told you, like, you were such a huge part of my transformation, getting my life back. It's emotional for me because I almost died. Like it had gotten bad. It had gotten really bad. And now, like, I don't ever want to be there again. Like, I feel so, aside from my heart not being totally healed, and we don't need to go into all that on this call, but aside from that, like, I am a lean, mean fighting machine, and I recently got into a size 4. Oh my
That's
God. Can you believe that? Like,
yeah.
Sam, when I first saw you, I think I was in a 14, 16, and I had already lost like
Hmm.
40 or 50 pounds,
Hmm.
but I was up in like 18, 20. Like I just don't know how that happened.
I was
It,
gonna say, I think you had already lost almost 50 pounds when we started working together. And then through our time together, through nutrition and training, you had dropped another 40 to 45 pounds. Like there was a significant amount of loss. You've lost over 100 pounds now, right?
mhm,
Yeah, it's insane. Just,
yeah,
and to that point, like,
which is mind blowing to me
it's
that
mind blowing to me too, but I know we talked about it. And another thing that I tell people is like, selfishly, I mean, genuinely love every person that I work with, and having the opportunity to be a part of your journey and be a part of your health means so much to me, because there is a great level of trust that you give to a coach when we're talking about health, because it's not just training, and it's not just nutrition. We're getting you healthy and, creating that longevity. And as much as I want to be able to work with everybody forever and ever, I understand that that's not feasible. Like it's not, financially feasible to work with a coach, but I do try to provide the education and insight so that when our time together ends, you're able to apply that information to yourself and carry that on. And you have done that so incredibly it's phenomenal just to see like every time I see you, pop up on my Instagram or my Facebook. I'm like, and I try to comment all the time. I'm like, man, you look so amazing now. You're like you have completely transformed not just your body, but your mindset, your discipline, like everything in your life has come like a complete 180 from when we first met. And
Yeah.
that is just, it's so incredible to me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely been a journey. I'm not gonna say it's easy and that there aren't days that you don't want to do it,
Yeah.
but you need to, all I can say, my advice is stay consistent, get people around you that are supportive and want you to win, not sabotage you, because
Mhm.
there are people that don't want to see you succeed. And it's sad to say that, but there's a lot of them out there. They want you to eat the crap. And, don't worry about it. It's the holidays. I don't know how many times I've heard that in the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's okay to indulge. I'm not saying I never indulge,
Right.
but it's not something I crave anymore. It's not something I have to have. Like, I'm okay with one slice of pie the whole holiday season. You know what I mean? I don't need I don't need to, for a week, eat all the stuff from Thanksgiving. Like, I eat it that day and then I'm good. I celebrate the moment, and all of my experiences now are not revolving around food. And I felt like before that, every holiday, it was the food that I looked forward to. It was the comfort things that, you grow up with. And I think this journey and some of the things I've been through, it's not the food. The it's it's the experience and the time with the people you love and doing things. And I feel like this has transformed my life as well, because I'm now out there, I'm active, I travel, I do things. I do a lot more because you feel good.
Yeah.
When you're fat and unhealthy, you don't want to go to a concert because you don't know what you're going to wear. You have
Hmm.
so much anxiety over what you're going to wear to go to things because nothing fits, nothing looks good. And now it's like I can grab anything in my closet and throw it on. And like yesterday, I was in like a little sweat outfit. I was, doing chores around the house, finishing up some Christmas stuff. And I thought I looked like a slob, right? I had sweats on and I was like running errands. And I don't know how many people like yesterday were like, "Oh my God, you look so good." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I feel like I look, like a wreck today." And but they said, "No, like you just glow and like just from within."
Hmm.
And I'm starting to see it now. This last probably 6 months or so, I finally see it too. Um, and it does feel good. It does feel good. But, you know, I, like I said, the training part of it, I have you and Josh to thank for that. Um, I mean, you guys taught me in such a way that it stuck, and like I said, I hear your voice every time I work out. Um, and I think also the student has now become the teacher.
Yes.
And when you teach what you know, it reinforces it.
Hmm.
And it also, when I know other people are watching what I'm doing, it helps me stay um, true to my goals, I guess,
Yeah.
or true to what I'm doing, you
Just
know,
reasonable.
accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps me. Like I'm not checking in with anyone, it's just me. Like I use the scale as just one of many measurements now. I was very focused. I was very focused on the scale for the longest time. And I know like I would be so devastated when it would go up when, I did everything right and we like followed the plan.
Hmm.
But you have to remember, and I know we hear it all the time, right? But it just doesn't sink in with women, especially. muscle weighs more than fat.
Hmm.
Or, I mean, pound for pound, it doesn't, but it
Right.
takes up less space.
Right.
So for me, the inch loss, the, size that I'm wearing, I kind of hover like 5 pounds. I'm up a couple pounds sometimes when I'm weighing or I'm down,
Mhm.
and I kind of know like where I like to be, where I feel good, where you know, I I have the most energy or.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just such a part of my life now, and I can't imagine like going back to my old life. I just can't even imagine. So
It's so impressive. It really is. Because and you hit on everything that I try to, that I know I stressed with you when we started working together is like scale weight. Scale weight is the least of the biometrics that I'm concerned with. I'm
mhm.
looking at your pictures, I'm looking at your measurements, I'm looking at how are you fitting into your clothes? How is your energy? How is your recovery? How is your sleep? Like there's so many other things that are more important than that number on that piece of plastic that sits in your bathroom, you know.
Yep, yep. And I
And
did incorporate in like doing the body composition,
okay,
and that was kind of later. I think it was even after I had left you because I was, you hear people saying, my body fat is this, my body fat is that,
yeah,
and when I went through a major ordeal about 18 months ago, um, I stopped eating for a period of time. I went through a loss and the grief, and I didn't care. I obviously I stopped going to the gym. That was kind of my time to reset. But I stopped eating. I didn't, I don't know, everything made me sick, like to my stomach. And
hmm,
I kind of lived off water and coffee for a couple months there, which I know is not healthy. I know I was undoing like some of my gains, but after I kind of went through that, I wanted to see like where my lean body mass was and how much protein I needed to get like, back to, the right body composition for myself.
yeah,
Because I was what they call skinny fat there for a little bit.
yeah,
Um, because I was lean. I didn't weigh a lot. Um, but I didn't look the same, you know. Skin was kind of hanging on my body there for a little bit because my muscle was deteriorating, like I was starving it. And I think just life, you're going to hit moments like that where you're going to have little setbacks.
hmm,
And that's when I think it's even more important. Like there's that support system around you. And the lady that I train at the gym now, she's the one who got me back there after this loss. Like she was like, Susan, just come back. Everyone's asking about you, everyone cares. Like we're here for you. And so I think it was about 3 months after that, that I showed up at that 5 a.m. and there's kind of this group of people there and we all don't really know each other, but they're the gym group. And so we
right,
always would talk to each other, wish each other, say good morning or um it was just this support system. And it did help going back. I didn't The first couple days I went back in, I spent more time crying than actually working out because everybody came up to me, where have you been? Oh, it's so good to have you back, all that. And I had to kind of tell them where I had been and what had happened. So, but that keeping those like folks around you when you do hit those life events,
yeah,
keeping those people that hold you accountable, um, keep them close because life's hard and you're going to hit struggles and you're going to hit things that take you away from your good habits and what you know you should be doing. Um, because they're gonna like when you have these little stumbles, they're gonna help push you to get back into your groove.
yeah.
At least that's how it's been for me.
Mhm. No, and that's amazing. And I'm so happy that you found that support group and people who care enough that they, probably didn't know exactly what was going on with you personally, but just the fact that they want to see you back and they want you to continue to be healthy and focus on your goals. It's amazing to have that kind of support. And who would have thought, 7 years ago that you would find that through the people at the gym? And I know we have that in common that, initially when you start the journey, it's like, I'm so uncomfortable in my body. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want anybody to look at me. And then you find that the people there end up being your biggest supporters and your biggest cheerleaders. And that, like, the fitness community, the gym community has such a big impact on that, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some that are there and yeah, they tear people down but that's not the majority. The
No.
ones that are like critiquing or judging, the fat girl there or the fat guy there or whatever.
Yeah.
Most of us are just like, you know what, we're here all to do the same thing, right? We're in different places on our journey. We just haven't achieved where they are.
Right.
When you first start, yeah, you may see all the cute other ladies or the really buff guys and think, oh, I'm not worthy. Well, they started somewhere too.
Exactly.
And now, like, I make it a point when I see, someone who doesn't look like they belong in the gym,
Hmm.
like, hey, like, it's great to see you here. Hey, let me know if you like need help with any of the machines or whatever, because I remember when I first stepped in, thank God for my husband, like that pulled me in there and forced me to go. Because I don't know if he hadn't done that, where I'd be. I
Hmm.
really don't. And he he saw me self-sabotaging and watched me become very, very unhealthy, over the course of, he had been with me for probably 30 years at that point
Yeah.
and had seen me in my prime, had seen me, a little heavier, had seen me after I lost my baby weight. I've, kind of throughout my life, but I'd always been somewhat healthy and fit. Like I always walked or did something.
Hmm.
And sometimes we let jobs or family or other obstacles take us away from taking care of ourselves. And you can't take care of anyone if you don't take care of yourself, kind of that whole you can't pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
And I used to think I could. I thought I was superwoman and I could do it all. And I still strive to do it all. But I know where my boundaries are now. And I know that I don't want a job that keeps me on the road all the time or keeps me out of the gym or doing the things that I know are good for me. So,
You still travel a decent amount though. For
not as much. I travel some probably once a quarter now
Mhm.
um, for work. We do a lot of things remote now. Since COVID, the video conference has added a whole new dimension to where the international trips are less and less.
Yeah,
They're not as necessary. Plus, I think companies now don't want to spend that money.
sure.
My I worked for the company that almost killed me. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars, right, in hotel and airfare and all that. And like I'd spend a week at a time every month in a hotel at one place.
It's crazy.
And I almost considered moving there just because I was spending more time there than I was at home. And but it's not where I wanted to be. And luckily I ended up not making that move. And I ended up, like I said, leaving the company shortly thereafter because they weren't interested in what I needed.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be our own advocates. And when I saw kind of how they were when they sent me in the hospital and they still wanted that same level of effort as soon as I got back, I was like, yeah, you guys don't really care about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they filled my position, in a month or 6 weeks after I left.
Yeah.
So, you need to be true to yourself and, keep what's important in your life.
Hmm.
And then the rest of it goes so much better. Like I make more money now than I did when I was doing that.
Yeah.
And
And you're
I'm,
happier and healthier.
yeah,
And
yeah. So,
you do get to kind of choose when you travel now. And even when you're traveling, I know you make an effort still to go to the gyms, you stay
yep,
active, you
sure
stay
do.
true
Yep.
plan. I see your stories when you're eating out. I see your protein and I know what you're doing. You're crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's ingrained now. And
Yeah.
that's the thing where you hear people say consistency is key.
Mhm.
It's not just a consistency because it's going to help you reach your goals. It drills it into your mind where you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like, when I eat out, I'm always mindful of, am I getting enough protein with this? Or, did I get enough greens or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, And I know when I eat stuff that doesn't serve me, my stomach's upset. I don't feel good.
Your
I
energy.
don't like feeling like that. Like
Yeah.
my stomach's never gurgly anymore. Like that yucky feeling.
Hmm.
I don't have that. I don't have bloating and gas and all that.
Yeah.
When you eat clean and you work out and do the right things, you don't have that. And it feels good not to have that. Like I
Hmm.
had it every day for years thinking that was normal,
And
you
that's,
know.
I think most people go their entire lives without actually understanding how food makes them feel. And I know
Mhm.
we've talked about that too. And when you start to recognize that and you have a cheat meal because we all do. Everybody has
Right.
a cheat meal, like you go out and enjoy dinner or you enjoy the holiday. And I never try to take away from that or try to convince people not to because I think it's important that you don't feel restricted and that it does feel just like I eat this way because I want to. Not
Yeah.
because I have to, not because I'm dieting, just because this is part of my life, right? And
Mhm.
then you start to, after you take control and you have a better understanding of how food makes you feel, when you eat those nasty things, you're like, oh, I feel like crap. And
Yeah.
it's just not worth it, you know?
Hmm.
So it's
Exactly.
incredible when you get to a point where you don't even crave that stuff. You don't want that stuff because you know it doesn't not only does it not serve your goals, but it's gonna if affect you, your energy, your digestion, your everything the next day, or maybe even the next couple of days, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. And until you kind of, I think, go through it and live it and become more in tune with your body and what you are fueling it with,
Mhm.
which it took me a while, you know, to to get where I'm at right now. Like it's taken me a long time to figure out what foods just don't serve me.
Mhm.
They, I used to be a big yogurt eater, and
Mhm.
I still like it, but for some reason, I think it might be the dairy. It upsets my stomach,
Yeah.
like, and so I've just found other things to replace that protein,
Yeah.
that don't do that.
But you also learn because it's our bodies are in constant change, right? And it's
Mhm.
like some foods it'll serve you well for a while. You start to develop sensitivities. Your body just doesn't digest it as well. But now you have this understanding and this knowledge, like you can pinpoint what's making you feel that way, and you're like, ah, crap. No, I gotta take this out for a little while. Like maybe I need a
Yep.
little from the yogurt, and it probably won't be a forever thing, but
Well,
um,
and I tried to eat one, I think, a few weeks ago. I
yeah,
had bought some again because I love Greek yogurt. It's
yeah,
like, and I like to throw some like blueberries in there or something like was part of my meal plan.
yeah,
And it didn't bother me. So it could have just been maybe I was under more stress and there was other things going on that was, making my stomach feel that way. Um, so yeah, I kind of play with it. And if something doesn't make me feel good, then I like recognize and go, okay, like, and I usually will kind of remove it for a bit and then maybe I'll try it again in a few months. But yeah, I don't know. I encourage people, that have gotten to a place where they don't feel good about themselves or they're heavy and the age thing, don't give me that excuse. Like, there's people that are in my life and they're like, oh, it's just part of aging. Like, I'm in my 50s now. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, you probably have to bleep that out. Um, but don't tell me that.
yeah,
Like, no, I feel better. at 57 than I did in my 30s. I
That's,
do, you know? And part of it is I'm not carrying that extra weight. I'm not stressed to the max. I'm not sleep deprived. Sleep's very important. And I think you a few times on my journey, like had me not work out. Like we were big 6 days a week, there for probably a year straight. We really just stuck with that. Well, I only work out now. Like I lift probably 4 days a week. I do some sort of active cardio though,
mhm.
pretty much every day. There might be one day a week where I don't, based on weather or if I'm traveling or whatever. But I found I need sleep to function, and I feel better and I recover better when I get adequate sleep.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part of my plan now. And so I kind of go, I typically always go Saturday, Sunday
Mhm.
to the gym because I can go later in the morning. I'm an early riser and it got there for a while. I was struggling with sleep again. And so trying to get up at 4:30 in the morning and hit the gym was not serving me. I was hurting myself. I was injuring myself. I was pulling muscles because I was tired. And so I kind of had to learn. And again, kind of back, Sam told me, like, you got to get, that's part of it. Rest is important. It is important. And I feel like that's as you get older is even more important. Like,
Yeah.
I found getting adequate rest, like, I'll see gains from that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow. Like, look at that shoulder cap. Like, it's really popping. Well, I had a really good week and I slept well. And, so I think you need to find what works for you, but, and there'll be times where you don't have all the pieces.
Yeah.
You'll go through stages where, yeah, your sleep's not great, or you're not getting to the gym, 4 or 5, 6 days a week, or maybe your diet's not on point. But when I find I'm at my best and I'm performing at my best, I'm firing, my brain is sharp, like I feel like I'm just got it all together,
Mhm.
is when I have all those pieces in check. And so it's a constant balance.
Yeah.
It's a constant balancing act. And I don't feel guilty anymore when the alarm goes off if I'm just freaking tired
Yeah.
and I don't want to get up and I feel like I need a couple more hours of sleep. I don't feel guilty anymore
That's good.
like I did before. And so,
That's a really hard thing, I think, especially when you're in the transformation or fat loss part of your life. And
mhm,
we've talked about it as like I don't believe in overtraining. I believe in under recovering. I
yeah,
believe in not sleeping enough. I believe in stress being too high, and we have to take all of that into consideration and balance too. But I know when you're like on a roll with your fat loss or your transformation, in your brain, you're like, I have to get up and do this, or if I skip a day, then I'm going to regress, or I'm not going to lose the weight this week. And like you
yeah,
said, it's just not true. So there's, a time and a place for that. And, for my athletes that are active competitors, like contest prep means that some days you're going to feel like crap and you have to go do it anyways.
right.
But it's still recovery is a part of that process. And when you're trying to make lifestyle changes and you're trying to transform your body, that needs to come into a big place. And you need to understand how important sleep is,
Mhm,
especially like I know it's something that you had noticed when we first started working together,
mhm.
and we were really focused on kind of correcting your cortisol
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, getting a good amount of sleep. And like you had started to say, there were a couple of times where it was like, I need you to just sleep and not train this
yeah,
week or for the next 3 days. You're not allowed to go to the gym.
yeah,
You sleep, you focus on getting 8 hours of sleep,
yeah.
and
And I
that's
think you probably saw, like, I see it now. I get puffy
yeah.
or I have like water, like I'll feel puffy.
Mhm.
And you probably saw that because you're used to seeing people, go through different things or whatever. And you probably saw like she's looking really puffy, maybe your abdomen's distended,
Mhm.
that's the cortisol.
Yep.
And, I think a lot of women have that issue and don't even know it. Like I just lucked out and found out I have it because I had a life-changing event that we tested and found that, which it didn't shock me. I mean, I've been this workaholic career, that was always like super important to me. And so everything else got sacrificed.
Yeah.
So it didn't surprise me, but now like I know how to keep it in check. And like the last time I checked it, it was back to normal. And I can feel it. Like I can feel when it's off.
You can see it like when we first got on video, it's like your skin looks amazing, your hair looks amazing. You look so healthy all the way around now. It's amazing to see. It was like you have actually gone back in age from when we first
Yeah.
started listening to video.
Yeah, I really have. Like I've healed myself
Yeah.
with food and exercise and rest and I think feeding myself, not only my body, but my mind with the right things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big TV watcher anymore. I used to use that as a escape. And now I find myself, I'd rather watch a podcast or I'd rather learn something or
Yeah.
I'd rather knock something off my list that is gnawing at me.
Mhm.
Like last night, I almost just went and found a movie to watch. Well, instead, I would clean my office, which I'm not saying you can't ever go watch a movie or go have fun. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I know what serves me
Mhm.
and what makes me feel good. And so what you feed your mind is important too.
That's that's huge, and I think that doesn't get talked about enough because I do remember there was a point in time, during COVID especially, where we're just kind of everything is really negative. Like
Mhm.
your human interactions are really negative, and we have such a lack of human interaction during that time anyways. But I know that and I'm not saying you specifically, all of us, we get kind of sucked into the social media side of it
Yeah.
and the politics and the news, and
Mhm.
everybody is just so battling at that time that I remember even then you're like, I think I just need to like delete social media for a little bit and I need this.
Yep. I
It's
actually turned off and quit watching news altogether. And I still very seldom watch it. We get enough just on little blips on social
yeah,
media. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to watch any of the news channels to get an update on anything. You know
right.
what? I don't need, it's all negative. It's all fear.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a big part. And that was probably 2 years ago. I kind of stepped away from all that because
Mhm.
I even remember when we were training, we'd be talking about it because COVID had hit, right? So
Yeah.
everything was about the lockdowns and what they were doing. And,
Bias.
businesses were closing and our friends were struggling and people were losing their jobs. It was just so much. And I
Yeah.
remember us talking about it. And then on top of it, we got this ticker playing on the TV. Like I had the TV on like full time watching.
Hmm.
And I'm like, as soon as I turned that off and I started putting that energy and time into things that were more positive, like, I started watching things about health and supplements and, um, you know, just different passions and, people that inspire me or that I get lifted up from. I started doing that. And I'm in a couple of really good groups now that I follow regularly. One's called Fully Optimized Health,
Mm.
and I pretty much tune in to that one every week. They have a podcast every Tuesday, and if I don't catch it live, I watch the replay
Hmm.
because it feeds my soul. Like it keeps me on track. It gives me kind of some of the latest things coming out, supplements and, health type information, which it's funny that I've become like so interested in all that now.
No, I love that you are so into it now. I love that you still send me like you'll send me supplements sometimes like, have you seen this? Have you tried this? I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a way of life now. And I think when you can get to a point where I don't diet anymore. I really don't. I don't diet. Like people say that like, oh, you're dieting or oh, you're not drinking. Like, yeah, I don't want any, like, I don't have to have it. Like,
Yeah.
luckily I've never been an addictive, aside from food. I think I was addicted to food for a while there. I was using it to deal with my stress.
Hmm.
I was trying to do something to overcome or feed that stress. I don't have an addict. I don't, I never smoked. I never really drank heavy,
Hmm.
and I don't feel it serves me. It doesn't make me the best version of who I am. And so I kind of steer clear of the things that take away from the best version of me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we see these things on social media, like you probably see it all the time, that like reels or whatever that pop up that are, it's crazy to think that eating healthy whole foods is considered dieting anymore. But it's real though.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tend to, when I do go to a party or go to an event, you'll see my plate. It's like lots of greens, lots of vegetables. Well, it's not because I'm dieting. Like, I like that stuff.
Right.
Like, and I like how I feel when I eat that stuff. You know, I
Yeah.
don't feel so good when I eat the pie and the cakes and the, I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of like the Christmas cookies that have the really bright green and red frosting.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat half
But
of
all
one of
those
those, I
black.
feel sick. Like the dyes, I'm just very aware now
Yeah.
of what I put in my body and how it makes me feel. And I just choose to feel good. So, yeah, it's
I love that.
uh,
I love that. And I think that's actually a pretty good way to kind of wrap this up, and just because it does tell us, how this has how it changed your life, how you have changed, and again, not just you, but the people around you, and everything that you just said is that's that's why I wanted people to hear your story, because the past few years have had nothing to do with me at all. These are all habits.
oh, it did.
Well, I mean, maybe because I had an opportunity to help like provide some information for you and help you
You
understand
gave me
these
my
things.
foundation.
Okay. I'll accept that. I helped build the foundation, but what you have done over the past few years, like that's all you. And it makes my heart happy to see you continue to be so successful and so healthy, and for that to have the trickle effect to the people close to you in your life too. And that's why, like I said, that's why I wanted people to hear your story, because it is about longevity of health. This is not something we do for 16 weeks or 20 weeks. This is something like I want you to be healthy for the rest of your life. Like I want you to be healthy, not for 6 months, for the next, 60 years, right?
Right. Yeah. And
That's
I didn't see that going in either.
yeah.
I looked at it as a goal to lose the weight, get
Mhm.
back to myself. And along that journey, I found out what I was truly looking for. And that was something sustainable. I wanted to live a long time. I wanted to be able to do the things I wanted to do and not struggle.
Yeah.
I don't get out of breath like climbing a mountain or going up 10 flights of stairs, and I see
You live
people
in Colorado.
struggling.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, which is crazy when you live in Colorado and you're
Yeah.
already
I
a
mean, I don't
mile above
like
the rest
seeing
of us.
people have to stop after a flight of stairs, and you can tell they're in so much pain because their knees hurt, their hips hurt. They have no breath, like no oxygen. And I remember I was there,
Yeah.
and it's sad to me. Like when I see people like that, I want to help them, you know, but not everybody's ready to be helped.
Right. You and I have
So,
that in common. They're like, I just want to give you a little bit of advice.
yeah,
You didn't ask me for it, but let me
yeah.
give you some pointers.
Sometimes it's well received and sometimes it's not. And, you know, but yeah, so This is me now.
Amazing. So, do you want to share your social media so people can follow your journey? Is that
Oh,
okay?
sure.
That out
Sure. So I'm on Instagram as Schexnayder1. It's SCHEXNAYDER, the number one. I'm on Facebook as Susan Peek, Peek, Schexnayder, same Schexnayder. If you want to see, well, probably a lot of dog pics and videos as well, because I'm big into my dogs. But yeah, I do a lot of like posts, not every day about the gym, but like I like to check in and like give people hope and inspiration. And it's funny, but it feeds me or helps kind of lift me up when someone reaches out privately that I've known for years that are like, you know what? I went back to the gym this week and it's because of you. Or, I just signed up for a meal plan, to get my meals because I'm not doing well with what I'm eating because of you. And you don't know who's watching. And you used to say that all the time. You used to say, you don't know who's watching. And I have a fan club. And
As well, you should. You've been
and
sharing some of your transformation pictures lately, and it is incredible. It is incredible.
yeah, those are so hard for me to share, to look and see myself at that point, that I had let myself get to that point. But I know it was a part of my life, and it was the stepping stone to get me where I am now. And
Absolutely.
I don't think if I hadn't reached that point, I would have gone in so seriously, so committed, so motivated to get where I am now. And so it had a place, and it's some place that I never ever want to be again. Um, but like I said, you'll have setbacks, you'll have things that happen in your life that will make it difficult to stay true to your goals. And that's okay, but let it be a short break, not back to your old lifestyle habits, because you'll regret it.
When you get tired, learn to rest, not quit.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. All right. Well, I will link your Instagram and Facebook in the description of this
Okay,
YouTube video. And I want to thank you again so, so much for taking time
you're
to do
welcome.
this and tell your story. And, after years of not working together as closely, still keeping in touch with me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate you asking me. I hope it helps just one person out there.
It will.
So,
More than
all
you
right.
know.
I love you, Sam.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye.